I've been waiting for this for a long time. A big window, multi-reticle, shake awake, side loading battery, quality optic that not only can I trust, but it's not going to break the bank. Holosun, 507 comp. And I think a lot of people have this misconception that quality optic has to be really expensive. Nothing could be further from the truth, and that's something that Holosun has proven time and time again. So let's just run through this thing real quick. The 507 comp, as the name suggests, it is made for competition use. It's not a duty optic like the RMR would be or the 507C. It is a competition optic more like what the Trijicon SRO would be, except it's affordable and has a bigger window. Actually, as far as I can tell, this 507 comp has the biggest window of anything on the market. Feel free to go ahead and fact check me and leave a comment below. I really didn't know what to expect with this optic as far as size goes. You know, I've used an SRO a few times here and there. I don't own one personally because I think they're ridiculously priced, to be perfectly honest. I've seen comparison videos between the SRO and the 507 comp online, but really you can't grasp that size difference until you see it in person. Now, part of the reason I'm going through shock with this optic is because I don't normally use an SRO on a regular basis. My daily carry 9 times out of 10 is this Hellcat Pro, and on top of that I have the Holosun 407K. The other gun that I carry somewhat regularly is the Smith & Wesson M&P, and of course I have the Holosun 507C mounted on top of this guy. As far as optic size goes, that's what I'm used to. So when I opened up the box for this 507 comp, I was like, whoa. Full disclosure here, I'm not a competition shooter. My training and practice, my focus, tends to lean a little bit more towards concealed carry type shooting. I do love shooting competition guns, they're amazing, and I would like to carve out a little bit of time to get into some competition shooting, but right now life is just way too busy. Who knows, maybe a little further down the road, the M&P metal competitor will get me into some competition shooting, but for right now, primarily concealed carry. I personally think a lot of people that are looking at buying the 507 comp, they're probably in that same situation. I've been seeing a lot of people add SROs to carry guns lately. It seems like that's the new trend, is to just put the biggest windowed optic that you can on something that's got a 4-inch barrel, and then that's your carry gun from now on. Believe me, I get it. Having a bigger window is a lot better for most people when it comes to using a red dot. Naturally, people have been using the SRO because up till now it's had basically the biggest piece of glass on the market. But now that the 507 comp is out, I think a lot more people are going to gravitate towards that because it's a lot more budget friendly. Not only does it have a big window, but the glass, it's nice and clear. It's exactly what I would expect after using Holosun optics on most of my handguns these last few years. At this point, for me, I don't see much reason to use anything else but a Holosun. And you can save that whole I only buy American-made stuff for when you can type it down in the comment box on a phone or a computer that was made in America. As a whole, during my usage, I have found Holosun optics to be very reliable. Now, I'm not going to drop this thing on the cement in my driveway a bunch of times to show you how many times it'll take that before it shits out. I've seen enough of those videos to know that Holosun optic is going to put up with similar levels of abuse as any top tier brand. One of the things that I really like about the 507 comp is the multi-reticle system. You have the 2 MOA dot, you have an 8 MOA circle. There's also a 20 and 32 MOA circle. Not only that, you can mix and match between all kinds of combinations of those different options. It is a legit customization to your shooting style and preferences, or whatever type of competition shooting you might be doing. One thing I would like to see here is a 6 MOA dot. You guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about the 6 MOA dot on this 407K and how amazing it is and how well it works with my eyesight. It doesn't distract me or take up too much space the way that the reticle on the 507C does. 6 MOA is easy to see and it's still very accurate. With this 507 comp, the closest that I can get is the 2 MOA dot with the 8 MOA circle around the outside of that dot. For right now, that's the one that I'm going to stick with. Visually, it's just slightly larger than what a 6 MOA dot would be, like I have on the 407K, but it is not overwhelming like a 20 or 32 MOA circle. I've had this conversation with a bunch of people recently about the multi-reticle system on the 507 comp. A lot of them feel like maybe it's a little bit of a gimmick. I mean, who needs all these options, right? Personally, I feel like having all those different reticles is rather genius. This one optic right here caters to nearly everybody who's going to want a bigger windowed optic. For those that insist on having the smallest dot possible for accuracy purposes, you can get that. You have the 2 MOA dot. Most of the people that are using like an RMR for their carry gun, that's what they're using, is the 2 MOA RMR. Then you have the hybrid type people who are using something like this, the Holosun 507C. That one has a 2 MOA dot with a 32 MOA circle around it. The 507 comp has that exact same combination, except you get the bigger window. Guys like me who prefer a 6 MOA dot like the 407K, well, I may not be able to get that 6 MOA, but with that 8 MOA circle, it's so close you'd probably never notice the difference. Honestly, going back and forth between these two dots, it's really hard to tell which one is which, other than the fact that, of course, this one is green and this one is red. So as a carry optic, which the 507 comp isn't meant to be, but as a carry optic, it has all the options you might need. In my mind, Holosun knew when they were designing this that this optic was going to not just end up on competition type guns. They knew it was going to end up on other firearms and ultimately end up being used as both competition and concealed carry use. That's why they made the multi-reticle system so versatile. This 507 comp in green, it is so easy to see. I don't get a lot of that blooming or starburst like I do with a lot of other red dots that I've used. Part of that's definitely the color. Green is king when it comes to red dots. The other part of that is the emitter itself. When you look at budget-friendly red dots, all the way up through like the mid-range ones, one of the things that they save money on is the emitter. Cheaper emitters will have worse blooming and starburst for those of you that have an astigmatism. You're also going to see a little bit of flutter, almost blinking when you move quickly with them from target to target. Some are definitely worse than others, but this is something that you're not going to see with higher end optics most of the time. It's also something that I haven't encountered with any of the Holosun optics that I've used, which is great considering the price. If you look around hard enough, you can find the Trijicon SRO for whatever, 550 bucks. This 507 comp, it looks like most places are going to charge right about $400 for the green version and about $370 for the red one. I know a lot of you Trijicon guys are sitting there right now thinking, well, why wouldn't you just spend the extra $150 and buy the SRO? You know what? That's cool. You go ahead and do that. For those of you that want to save $150 and gain a multi-reticle system from a company that has proven time and time again that its products can stand up with the big boys, 507 comp should be your next optic. Remember, this optic's whole reason for existence is competition shooting. A successful optic has to have a big piece of glass that is clean and clear and without massive distortion, easy to see through. It's got to have a good emitter that doesn't stutter and flutter when you're transferring from target to target. It needs a precise reticle that holds zero no matter what. When my 507 comp came in, I knew that I had the perfect gun to test it with, and that is the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 metal competitor. Of course, I've done a few upgrades since I've got the gun, but if ever there was something suited for the 507 comp, it'd be this gun right here. In the time that I've had the 507 comp mounted to the M&P competitor, I've burned through just over 1,000 rounds. For me personally, that's not a lot. I'd say I'm fairly early in the testing process. Honestly, I love shooting the M&P competitor. I love shooting it even more with the 507 comp on it. The Holosun's remained accurate through all of the rounds that I've put it through, and you know what? You would be amazed at how much of a difference that big piece of glass makes. I really can't even describe how much of a difference it is shooting the 507 comp versus something like this here, the 507C, let alone my 407K that's on my Hellcat Pro. One thing to keep in mind is that the 507 comp doesn't have an auto adjust feature for the brightness. That's fine with me. Personally, I like to have my dot set just a little bit brighter than what pretty much all auto adjusts will set for me. So I'm good there. It also doesn't have a solar panel. For me, again, that's not a huge deal either. I change my batteries, right about once a year anyways. Also, like all other Holosun products, this thing has shake awake. So honestly, it's going to get great battery life. And because it's a side loading battery, if by some chance it does happen to go dead, you can swap it without having to worry about stripping screws or having to re-zero it. So here's where I'm at with this 507 comp. Obviously, I love it. It's got everything that I could want in an optic. And obviously, a lot of people are going to be using this thing on their concealed carry guns. Sure, it's meant for competition use, but I think that it can be used in a wide variety of applications. Weirdly enough, the competitor actually carries pretty well, even with this big old optic attached to the top, as well as the brass competition magwell and the +6 mag extensions. A little bit excessive, but once you wear it for a few days, it's not too bad. I don't know how most people are going to feel about having such a big optic attached to their concealed carry gun, but I genuinely did feel like after a couple of days it was just kind of second nature. If you're thinking about adding the 507 comp to something that's a little bit more of like a range gun, it's going to be the perfect optic for you. If you're thinking about getting into some kind of competition shooting, the 507 comp, again, is going to be a great choice at a great price. Not only that, but it's probably the most versatile thing on the market. The 507 comp also uses the same mounting footprint as the 507C or the Trijicon RMR, so it should be easy enough to mount to whatever gun it is that you want to mount it to. I ended up using a mounting plate on here from C&H Precision. I'm not a big fan of the ones that come with the Smith & Wesson core system. I think they're pretty much garbage. I went with the C&H because I've been using them on other guns and I trust them. I know they're a little bit more expensive than some of the Amazon options out there, but really the fit and finish on the C&H plates is great. If you guys want to take a look at those, I'll put a link down below for you. What else can I say? I really like it. I'm going to keep shooting it, mount it up to this Smith & Wesson, and if anything changes down the road, I'll do another video, of course. For now though, Holosun 507 comp, you really can't go wrong with it. Okay guys, that's it for today. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here real soon.